Good afternoon, everyone, speakers, students, teachers, guests, and the very kind students, drivers. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Mark Donfrey, for the invitation, and congratulations for this initiative and for this wonderful organization, the Forum on Democracy and Peace. It is a great honor for me to have been invited to this noble event, where I intend to talk about gender equality as a fundamental pillar of democracy and peace. Let me start on a personal note. When I was a little girl, my father ran a factory that employed many women. During school holidays, my brothers and I used to go and help him at the factory. Once I was working on the factory until the end of the month, and my father asked me to distribute the payments among the employees. He gave me the envelopes with the payments, and I noticed they had different colors. Some were blue and some were pink. The blue ones were for the men, and the pink ones for women were different, as you can imagine. It was the first time that I was confronted with inequality in remuneration for work according to sex. Today, you would say according to gender. As you see in the picture, Portugal still hasn't managed to overcome the problem. In fact, like everyone else, I believe. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that social equality and freedom are structuring principles of modern democracy. I stress here the word modern because, as you know, democracy was not always based on social equality. In old regimes, some often classified as a democratic women and vast sectors of the population were excluded from democratic life. In contrast, we today value the idea that you are all born of equal worth and equal dignity, and that we shouldn't judge other people by where they come from, or the color of their skin, or they believe, or by their gender. Therefore, in democratic societies, where women are citizens with the same rights and as any other citizens, it is elementary justice. I would even say it is logical to expect women to have the same opportunity as men. I know that these are Western ideas that are somewhat unusual in several places of the world. As you can see in the map there. And I believe this will be the case for much longer. But look, in Western societies, these ideas took a long time to be developed and incorporated in justice and administration, and you know that we still have a lot of obstacles to remove so that we can materialize them in a social reality. Even in democratic societies, which embrace the goals of rendering equal opportunities to men and women, we still struggle, for example, with the fact that the majority of films and video games characters played by men as if they were a kind of universal figure. On the other hand, culture, art, and films can greatly help to remove the stereotypes that only men can be had and women are supposed to stand behind them. For support, protection, security, and safety of themselves and family. And this is certainly also a challenge for cultural diplomacy. I strongly believe that education, persuasion, and awareness will play a very important note in this process. As a contribution for this endeavor, in 2015, I founded the Academy of Political Training for Social Democratic Women, and I lead the Academy since then. We promote the equality of opportunities as the relation that all human beings, regardless of gender, are free to develop their personal skills, pursue their professional careers, and make their own choice, without limitations imposed by stereotypes, prejudice, and rigid conception for the social roles assigned to men and women. Education and communication are the two areas that most contribute to reproducing and reinforcing these conceptions. But they are also those with greatest power to question and transform them. Let me tell you a few words. I, as a member of the Executive European Parliamentary for the Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights. Gender inequality has its roots in social undervalue of women and girls, except for the specific, it's very difficult, functions of reproduction. This factor has been determining in the historical inequality between men and women, and despite the progress achieved in many countries in the world. It persists and can be reproduced through the new technological means of communication. I think, there. Importantly, sexual and reproductive health and rights should be a relevant standard to how we examine gender equality. Without sexual and reproductive health and rights, women and girls are left powerless, as they cannot choose when, where, or even how to have children, how to protect themselves from sexual transmissible infections, or even understand that they can be the target of specific violent practice like female genital mutilation just because they are female. The Forum developed an atlas tracking European government policies on access to contraceptive supplies and family planning with the aim of helping them to improve their policies in this area. The atlas is now being extended to the other continents. How can we expect women to have an equal stake in political discussion at the highest level of if women and girls across the world have little to no say over their own bodies? Political will is about the power to change the world and ideas. We can change the world for the better if sexual and reproductive health, which are basic and fundamental human rights, are not invested or on a global scale. Political gender equality is a central pillar of democracy. Since all people, regardless of gender, should have an equal say in political representation and decision making. In practice, democracies are generally better at ensuring gender equality than most democratic regimes. According to the Global State of Democracy Index, 41% of democracy have high levels of gender inequality, gender equality. Democracies with low levels of gender equality are exceptional. Low levels of gender equality are much more common in non-democracy. Gender equality, or equality between women and men, means the equal visibility, empowerment, participation, and responsibility of women and men in all spheres, public and private life. There is a need to place women's political participation and gender equality and the heart of defending and strengthening democracy. Democracy does not work unless everyone has access to power and decision-making at all levels. Across the world, women's access to the highest levels of decision-making is still far behind that of men. Look, the man is rose and the woman is red, okay? Portugal is a democracy, but much still needs to be done to ensure proportional representation of men and women. In the highest decision-making bodies of the country, as you can see, the example of the Constitutional Court, the State Council, and the Supreme Court of Justice. Man. But in Portugal, they have more women, advocacy women, than men. They have more Jewish women than men. But in the top, they have women. Only women, okay? I think it's the slide. Bon. Also, in the top positions of the public administration, we still have a notorious disproportion between male and female officials. As you can see in the graph, man is rose, woman is red. Look, in Portugal, it's a democracy. We're fighting about equality, and they have many laws. They work with the Parliament, the European Parliament, and we have this. But in the middle, when the salary it's not high, we have more women, okay? You don't know, but I'm trade unionist. You don't present me, I'm a trade unionist. I'm a member of the committee, of the big committee in Portugal, UGT, Union General of Workers, and I'm fighting for this because when a child, they have difference with men and women, and I told you in the beginning of my speech, okay? And I'm fighting in the parliament for equality too. The men tell, oh, Lina, it's not true. You are equality. No, that are not equality. In this moment, I'm the board of the assembly. I'm the board. I'm elected for the board of the assembly. And finally, you have 2 men and 4 women in the board, okay? When the president was with 4 women, they tell you nothing. But when the president don't stay there. And they have the vice president is a woman. They have 5 women in the top of the board. Every man tell me, he send me message, he send me texts and tell me, Lina, only women. And why? In 20 years, they have only men in the board. And they nothing about this, okay? They're shocked because now it's only women when the president don't stay there and the vice president is a woman, okay? In Portugal, they have this too. In Portugal, since the Democratic Revolution of April 1974, there has been a significant increase in female and female participation in political positions, both in the parliament and in government. But recent years show a possible stagnation of this evolution, as you can see this slide. Look, first one. Yeah. The members of the assembly increase, okay? But in this moment they decrease. Why? Ask me why? Because they have a new party, the right party, right party. They have 12 parliamentaries, and only one is a woman. Okay? And now the decrease the number of the women's parliamentaries. And the other one, percentage of women members of the government. Okay, it's not 50-50, but look, the women's or the major percentage, it's women's in the world. In Portugal, they have 15.2% of women, but they look us like a minority. Why? You are the majority. You are the majority. You study, the women are the most people who study, that not the men's, that the women's. But when you go to the government, when you have when you have another important another government, parliament, etc., Jews, constitutional, was the men's. Why? Because it's the power, okay? The power. If I go there, the men, they have no there, okay? This is a big problem. This power, only power, nothing more, only power. Today, equality between women and men is considered throughout the world to be a human rights issue and a condition of social justice necessary for the society to become more modern and more equitable. It is therefore a requirement for development and peace and in democratic countries, a condition for the effective and full exercise of citizenship. Women's participation enhances democracy and is therefore a threat to authoritarian leaders. I speak better French, but here it's English, okay? On the other hand, democracy is eroded every time a woman or girl faces harassment, hate speech, or online violence. Democracy is weakened every time a woman politician is silenced. I'm silenced many times. I'm silenced. I have many problems with the Facebook, not now, because it can destroy me. It can destroy me, but I have many problems for fight about women's, okay? But I go, and now I think I win. Yes. Where the political participation of a person belonging to a sexual minority is hindered or questioned. As in all work to promote gender equality, also in the context of political participation, it is important to look at the norms, structures, and root causes that hinder the achievement of gender equality. Politics is still regarded in many parts of the world as men's business. For example, look at this. Man, 2005, men's 2009, men's 2013, 15, 17, and 2021. Only men's elected for mayors. Only men's. Why? Because the parties put the men's in the first. Okay? They have no change, nothing, because it's only one. Okay? And the first is a man. The man can he can do the mayor. The woman no. The woman no. You don't understand nothing. Okay? Well, I'm very complicated. For example, in Portugal, the percentage of women among 308 mayors of the country is very low. And there is no visible tendency for this situation to change in the near future. It's the 2021, okay? 2021. Whoops. So, it is important to identify how discriminatory norms, beliefs, and structures impact women's political participation, and what kind of barriers are faced by those who are subject to discrimination, not only based on gender, but also based on age, disability, sexual orientation, ethnic origin, or geographical location. 10 years ago, in my trade union, they have a formation for members of the trade unions for LGBT. Well, and I go there. Everybody tells, why you go there? Oh my God, what's the problem? Well, in this moment, I can do formation in my trade union about this. Everybody tell women and men and the others, but women and men, because when you go to speak about with the other persons, only refer the male, not the female, only the male. In this moment, I think they have more women than men. But when you go to compliment, you only compliment the men. Why? If you have 100 women here and only one man, you compliment a man, everybody like a man. Why? It's more women. Okay? Think about this, please. Think about this. When I have more women than men, I compliment women only. And the men say, what is the problem? You do the same thing. You do the same thing. What is the problem? Now I compliment men and women, okay? They have no problem. Gender equality is sometimes used as a kind of brand that make society look modern and progressive, while the ones that evoke it do little to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of its materialization. So, paraphrasing G.F. Kennedy, like you, please don't ask what gender equality can do for you. Ask what you can do to materialize equal rights for men and women. Okay? I cannot end my intervention without talking about Ukraine, where we can already see the gendered impacts of war. In conflict resolution and peace building, women's political participation must be ensured. Someone said that the first victim of war is the truth. Maybe so, but the next victim, and I think the most relevant, are people, especially women, children, the elderly, people who do not have sophisticated weapons to defend themselves. Thus, let's struggle for peace. And here, I recall the appeal of G.F. Kennedy, and I quote, "Let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness. Let us never negotiate out of fear. But let us never fear to negotiate." Let me add that the Women, Peace and Security agenda provided for the UN Resolution 1325 on women's roles as victims and actors in conflicts provides a good framework for this work. You must act quickly and firmly against efforts to weaken democracy and gender equality. World leaders and politicians have a greater responsibility for gender equality. Education is the linchpin of this whole process and a world without discrimination between men and women is undoubtedly a more democratic world. I believe that it is you, young people, you will change the world. And it is you equipped with your skills and knowledge of economics, political science, and cultural diplomacy. It is you who will struggle for a change of mentalities in your home countries. I wish you all the best and much success in your life. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much,
sorry for my English.
Professor Lopes, for this very inspirational talk, and my deepest sorry for introducing you as a woman, as a politician, and as a professor, and forgetting about the unionist.
I have my mother too.
We are.
And doctor, and a boy.
I'm sure there's more. Next time we will ask if you have a dog and see
A dog too.
if that's also an important element of our identity. One quick question. We are running out of time, and then we move on to another equally important topic. Professor Diab.
I can respond in Portuguese.
So,
it's not a question. I just wanted to say that I'm a strong supporter of women empowerment from the very beginning. I remember when I was minister back in 2011, we were discussing at the time the new electoral law for we were about to have parliamentary elections, and it was a cabinet of 30, and I insisted that there should be a minimum quota for women in the parliament. It never happened in Lebanon. Of course, everybody says yes, okay, but when it comes to voting, nobody goes ahead. So, of course, when I became prime minister, it was a different story. Because I put a framework, part of that framework said a third of the cabinet at least a third had to be women. And in fact, I did not agree with anyone until I actually got a third of the cabinet women. And it's not just because they're women. In my opinion, women are more transparent, less corrupt, better managers in many ways. Doesn't mean that men are no good, but it means that women should be given the chance as well. And in fact, we got in our cabinet a third of the women, and that was not only the first time in the history of Lebanon, but in the MENA region. MENA region, that's 22 Arab countries. In fact, it was the first deputy prime minister woman, first woman minister of defense. It's unheard of in the MENA region. And I think I made the decision. Almost all of them were excellent in their tasks. The reason why I'm saying that is that, I mean, men say they support that, but when it comes to voting, they don't go ahead. And I think it doesn't mean that every woman you choose will be outstanding, but I think a lot of women are deprived from the possibility of doing a great job, and a lot of them do a great job. So it's not such a bleak picture. There are success stories, and I think we should talk more about those success stories so that others would emulate it as well. So it's just a statement, no question.
Thank you very much. But look, in Portugal, they have no president, no women president, no woman prime minister, and the parliament, the president of parliament, only one woman in 10 or 11 or 12, okay? But when I put women in the don't vote of me, they have time for this, okay? But if you put women, the other women can say, I can do the same, okay? Now you think, why you put women because they not vote me? But they have many people you vote, and perhaps women, okay? It's a good study. My president of my party tell me, Lina, what I can do for more women vote in my party? Because the left party, they have more politicals for women. Now I'm fighting about this. When I begin, everybody tell me, oh, Lina, it's the left. Now everybody wants the same politics, okay? But I'm fighting. It's not easy in Portugal too, okay? But now I'm independent. I fight for the girls, not for me, for the girls, for the others, for the women. You can fight with me. We can fight like me, okay? They have a girl there. It's the first one. Sorry. Yes, truck driver. Yes, I know.
Okay. So I wanted to ask a question, since we are here in the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy, and it's from cultural diplomacy. How do you think we all in this room can support gender equality so that in the following years women can reach higher executive positions in the world of politics in non-democratic countries?
Oh, it's complicated and not democratic.
Yeah, non-democratic.
Bon. Look, today I discussed with a good man, I think, the Afghanistan. They have a big problem in Afghanistan. I don't know if they have women of Afghanistan here, but I know, yes. It's you, but you study here? Yeah. It's you. You need to fight about the other women. Look, I'm not in Afghanistan, and my God, no. But in my country, it's very difficult. I have many problems. They look at me, oh, you like women now? Oh, what's happened with you? Okay? It's very complicated. But one thing, fight and believe. I believe, and I believe I can. Yes? You need support. You need support the boys. The boys were the support. That women, they have another boy, the Afghanistan, yes? You need the support of them, okay? Not alone. I'm the support of my husband, okay? I'm the support of my boy. okay? I need the support of my father. When I begin to read this story, I'm not, because my father tell me, Lina, work, have your money, and don't depend of men, okay? Study and fight with me, okay? It's a great man. I have a great father and a great mom, and now in 1 month ago, he passed away, my mom, okay? It's very complicated, but I'm here, and fight with me. It's not political, and my mom and my father, not political, but fight with me, okay? I think, orange too.
Yeah, orange. I would like to maybe stand and also maybe acknowledge not only your fight, but also indeed the young and inspiring new maybe politicians or leaders in different walks of life. First, of course.
Please.
No, this is your
members
audience.
of the parliament
But as a
too.
suggestion, as a suggestion.
Because you are members of the parliament, orange too. Okay? You are orange too. Yes.
You know what the Netherlands started under a female minister of Interior Affairs. They recognized what your title as gender equality as a fundamental pillar of democracy. So a minister of Interior Affairs is the guardian of that principle. So what she introduced, and I'm proud of my political party, but that's a side note. She introduced and supported an initiative, an NGO called Stem op een Vrouw, is in Dutch, Vote for a Woman. And that is a very, very powerful instrument, I must say. I know. I see the photographs about this. Yes, I see. And it has had an enormous effect because indeed there was also poor participation of women in political life in the Netherlands, below 30% in parliament. It has now increased to close to 40%. But the initiative of Vote for a Woman was very, very effective in their strategies to encourage indeed female political leadership on a provincial level, on a municipality level, and also on a parliamentary countrywide level. I can really encourage you to look at their tactics, their policies and their practices, and maybe also for you in Portugal. Yeah, I will.
All right, I think we have to wrap it up. If we would continue collecting success stories, I could add that this country saw Angela Merkel being the leader of the executive for 16 years, and now that we have a male chancellor again, the foreign minister picks up what has been invented in Sweden, which is feminist foreign policy. Yes. And Olaf Scholz got very much under pressure when he had to replace the Minister of Defense that used to be a woman by a male member, because now it's no longer 50-50. And that is now something that can be scandalized in a country that is so dedicated to what you just presented. So thank you very much for this additional perspective, and Mark will introduce our next speaker. Thank you very much, Lina, for your presentation.